Hello everyone. I am very happy to welcome you all to Dr. JJ's Virtual Academy of Commerce. In this video, I am going to explain the calculation of return on capital employed, return on shareholders funds, return on equity shareholders funds, and return on total assets using a practical problem. These are all a few details related to me. Let's get into the problem. The following information is extracted from the books of Confident Company Limited. You are required to rearrange the information for financial analysis and calculate number 1, return on investment or return on capital employed. Number 2, return on shareholders funds. Number 3, return on equity shareholders funds. And number 4, return on total assets. These are all the 4 ratios we are going to calculate from the given information of Confident Company Limited. After rearranging the information in such a way, it facilitates effective financial analysis and calculation of the 4 ratios. Let's get into the details given in the problem. Net sales, cost of goods sold, interest on debentures, loss on sale of furniture, interest on government securities, fixed assets less depreciation, investment in government securities, current assets, reserves, profit and loss account, debentures, sundry creditors, equity share capital, 10% preference share capital amounted 2 lakhs, operating expenses, provision for tax. Since we are going to prepare the trading and profit and loss account, let us first identify where each and every item is going to be placed. Net sales will come in the credit side of trading account. Cost of goods sold will be debited in the trading account. Interest on debenture is a non-operating expenditure. Loss on sale of furniture is also a non-operating loss. Interest on government securities is a non-operating income. And the next one is about fixed assets. It will go to the balance sheet. Investments in government securities, again this is an investment done by the business outside the business. So this is not related directly to the business, so it will appear in the balance sheet. Current assets will appear in the balance sheet. Reserves will be added with the equity share capital to find out the equity shareholders net worth or funds. Profit and loss account is the accumulated profit which will be added with the equity share capital to calculate the equity shareholders funds. Debentures is a long-term liability. Sundry creditors is a current liability. Equity share capital, it's part of equity shareholders funds. 10% preference share capital will be added with the equity shareholders funds to get the total shareholders funds. Operating expenses to be debited in the P&L account given separately. Provision for tax is a non-operating provision and that should be kept separately in the debit side of P&L account. So this is what the understanding from the information given in the problem. Now let's get into the statements that are prepared here. The following profit and loss account and statement of funds or position statement are useful for financial analysis by providing several details that are needed for calculation of ratios asked in the problem. Profit and loss account. This is nothing but trading and profit and loss account. In the debit side, you find cost of goods sold 6 lakh rupees, which is directly given in the problem. Then by net sales 10 lakh rupees. This is also given in the problem. The difference between the two is 4 lakh rupees that comes in the debit side, which is nothing but gross profit. That's a balancing figure we calculate preparing trading account. The gross profit is transferred to the credit side of P&L account, 4 lakh rupees. Two operating expenses are first debited in the P&L account, that's amounted 1,50,000. The difference between the gross profit brought down and the operating expenses is nothing but 2,50,000 rupees, which comes in the debit side is named to be operating profit. This is the first stage of the profit and loss account. The second stage of profit and loss account is continued here. The operating profit calculated here is transferred to the credit side of the second part of P&L account. By operating profit brought down 2,50,000. We will now debit all non-operating expenses and losses here, credit the non-operating incomes and gains in the credit side. To interest on debenture, to loss on sale of furniture, to provision for tax are the items of non-operating nature. And coming here in the credit side, this is a non-operating income, only non-operating income given in the problem, which is credited here, amounted 5,000. Now you find the difference between the credit side items and the debit side items. That comes to 1,50,000 rupees in the debit side, which is nothing but net profit generated by the business in the given year. Now let's look into the details of the statement of funds or position statement. Fine. Let's start with the fixed assets. Fixed assets, character A, 10,75,000 straightly given in the problem. Now with that, we are going to add the working capital so that you can come to know the capital employed in the business. To find out working capital, let us first present the value of current assets. Current assets in total valued 5 lakh rupees directly given in the problem, from which we subtract the items of current liabilities. What are all the items of current liabilities given in the problem? One is creditors, the other one is provision for tax. It comes to the total of 1,25,000. Now working capital is amounted 3,75,000. Working capital is what? Excess of current assets over current liabilities. Put together, now you get the capital employed in the main business amounted 14,50,000. But please understand the fact that in addition to the 14,50,000, they have mobilized another 50,000 which has been invested by the business on outside avenue. That's nothing but investment on government securities amounted 50,000. So total comes to 15 lakh. Therefore, what you understand, capital employed in the main business is 14,50,000, but total capital generated and invested in the business and outside the business put together comes to 15 lakh rupees. Now we are going to verify how this 15 lakh rupees has been mobilized through various sources. Source number 1, debenture. Let us deduct it. It is amounted 2,50,000. So the balance comes to 12,50,000, which is nothing but shareholders' funds in total. From the shareholders' funds, if you deduct preference share capital, you get the balance of 10,50,000. That's nothing but equity shareholders' funds. Please understand what I am explaining. Whatever the way by which you calculated here, fixed assets plus working capital plus the investment done outside the business is the asset side approach of calculating total capital employed. Whereas the second part of this calculation explains how the same capital employed could be calculated using the liability side approach as well. Therefore, the second part here done is to verify whether we have calculated the capital employed correctly or not. So you can do it either this way or the first way. Whatever is convenient for you, you can very well follow. But here, both the ways are presented for facilitating easy calculation of the ratios. Now, the equity shareholders funds 10,50,000 rupees is represented by equity share capital and retained earnings and profit. Equity share capital amounted 3 lakh rupees given in the problem. What is this 4 lakhs? This 4 lakhs is nothing but reserves. Now look at the problem. Reserve is amounted 4 lakhs. Profit and loss account 2 lakh rupees. This is the accumulated profit. So 4 lakh plus 2 lakhs, it comes to 6 lakhs. Now let us find out what is the profit generated by the business in the current year. It comes to 1,50,000. So 6 lakh plus 1,50,000, the total comes to 7,50,000. That's what you find here. This is reserves. This is accumulated P&L account and this is a current year profit. Put together 7,50,000 and the total of these two comes to 10,50,000. Therefore, now you find the balance is zero. This is how these funds have been invested in this way. This is what you have to understand, right? Fine. Now let's get into the calculation of the ratios one by one. Return on investment or return on capital employed. What is the formula? Profit before interest and tax divided by capital employed. Profit before interest and tax is amounted 2,50,000 rupees. How it has been calculated? Profit after interest and tax is 1,50,000. Along with this 1,50,000, you add the provision for tax 75,000 and interest 25,000. So it comes to 1,50,000 plus 75,000 plus 25,000. The total comes to 2,50,000. That is what written here. So profit after tax plus provision for tax plus interest on debenture put together 2,50,000. That's what named to be profit before interest and tax. Divided by capital employed in the main business, it is 14,50,000. That's what I told you. See, capital employed A plus B gives you 14,50,000. Kindly ignore this 50,000 for this calculation because this 50,000 is invested outside the business. So into 100 it gives us 17.24%, which is nothing but return on investment or capital employed. The second ratio is nothing but return on shareholders' funds. What is the formula? Net profit after interest and tax. Net profit after interest and tax is nothing but the item we calculated preparing P&L account. This is the final item we arrived at. Divided by shareholders' funds in total 12,50,000. Have a look at it. Shareholders' funds in total 12,50,000 rupees. The net profit after interest and tax is 1,50,000. So 1,50,000 divided by 12,50,000 into 100 is equal to 12%. That's nothing but return on shareholders' funds. The third ratio to be calculated here is return on equity shareholders' funds. What is the formula? Net profit after interest and tax and preference dividend. Net profit after interest and tax is 1,50,000, we know. The preference dividend 20,000 rupees have been subtracted here. How it has been calculated? Look at it. This is named to be 10% preference share capital amounted 2 lakh. What is 10% of 2 lakhs? It comes to 20,000 rupees. And that 20,000 rupees is subtracted here. That's what. So, from the net profit after interest and tax, if you subtract 20,000 rupees preference dividend, you find the balance 1,30,000. That is the profit available for equity shareholders. Divided by equity shareholders funds, it is 10,50,000 minus 20,000. How again this is calculated? Now listen to me. 3 lakh equity capital, 4 lakh rupees reserve, 2 lakh rupees the accumulated P&L account. From the current profit after interest and tax 1,50,000, if you pay 20,000 rupees preference dividend, what would be the balance of this figure? It would be 1,30,000 only. So 3 lakh plus 4 lakh, 7 lakh. 7 lakh plus 2 lakhs, 9 lakhs. 9 lakhs plus 1,30,000, 10,30,000. That is what the equity shareholders funds really. That is what presented here. Into 100, it gives us 12.62%. That's nothing but return on equity shareholders funds. Whatever I explained is presented here in the note. Kindly go through. Now the last ratio to be computed here is return on total assets. What's the formula? Net profit after tax but before interest. What is that? Net profit after tax but before interest. Net profit after tax is 1,50,000. What is interest? Here it is mentioned as 25,000. Let us look at the problem. See the interest on debenture 25,000. See interest on debenture 25,000 given in the problem also. Right. And that figure has been added back. Unless you pay interest, you can't calculate the profit before tax. And that is why they would have originally deducted the interest on debenture 25,000, calculated profit before tax. Then they pay tax, arrive at profit after tax. The profit after tax comes to 1,50,000. With that, they add back the 25,000 rupees of interest on debentures or interest on long-term liability divided by total assets. This is a value of fixed assets and this is a value of current assets and this is a value of the investment on government securities done at outside. Put together is the value of total assets. It comes to 16,25,000. Once again I tell you 10,75,000 is the value of net fixed assets. 5 lakh rupees is the value of current assets. 50,000 rupees is the value of investment done on government securities outside the business. The total comes to 16,25,000. Net profit after tax but before interest comes to 1,75,000. Into 100, it gives us 10.77%. That's nothing but return on total assets. I hope I have done my lecture up to a level of satisfaction on the calculation of the 4 important ratios asked in the problem. I suggest the learners to watch this video for a couple of times to learn the concept very thoroughly. Thanks for your time to watch this video. I'll meet you in another video. Bye for now, everyone.